tonight, and it's security, a theme about security. There's national security, there's foreign policy, but there's also economic security. So let's walk through a number of these issues. I want to begin by talking about economic security, and this is interesting. 6 years ago, we sat in the same room at about the same time. The unemployment rate was 7.8%. Today it's 4.2%. So clearly the economy has improved from what it was in 2010, and yet we see a recent survey by Marketplace and Edison Research says that people feel a growing sense of economic anxiety. We see a Marquette Law School poll that says 53% of the people feel that they're either just getting by or struggling. So my question, I'll begin with you, Senator Johnson. Give us a couple examples of things that you think people in the U.S. Senate can do to better the lives of those people who feel that economic angst.
Well, first of all, they're feeling reality. You know, during the 8 years of the Obama administration, wages have stagnated. We are still at a median household income that's below 2006, 2007 levels. So they're right to feel the pinch. You know, so yes, unemployment's lower, but so many people have dropped out of the workforce. Economic growth is the #1 component of solution for all these problems. And let me show you why. If we go from 2% to 3%, by the way, this is the slowest recovery from the recession post-World War II. Last quarter was 1.4 economic growth. First quarter was 0.8%. On average, since the Great Depression, the American economy has grown at about 3.2%. So it's an enormous difference. You go from 2% to 3%, that's $14 trillion of added economic activity in just 10 years. 2 to 4% is $29 trillion. Even with the meager economic growth we've had since 2009, federal revenue has increased by $1.1 trillion. So you have to grow the economy. So all of our public policy ought to be directed toward unleashing the innovation, the creativity of Americans. So we can grow our economy. So what we need to do is we have to reduce the regulatory burden. You know, in my committee, by the way, we issued a vision statement to enhance the economic and national security of America. One of our subcommittees was all about regulatory reform. It costs about $2 trillion per year to comply with federal regulations. Divided by the number of households, Mike, that's $14,800 per year per household to comply with federal regulations. So there's a big reason why wages are stagnated, so we need to reduce that regulatory burden. You know, what I'd ask the listeners in the audience is, would you rather have that $14,800 feeding a massive, inefficient, ineffective government bureaucracy, or in your paycheck feeding and providing for your family? So Senator Feingold supports the growth of those regulatory agencies. He supports something like the Waters of the United States, which would put the EPA in charge of 92% of Wisconsin landmass. That'd be devastating for our economy. So he wants to grow government, which is going to require more taxes out of your paycheck. I want to grow the private sector by reducing the size of government. I want to make sure that Wisconsinites get to keep more of their hard-earned money.
What would you do to